The first time I saw that gate, I honestly thought it was a joke, like some rich developer's idea of humor. A shiny white toll gate, right there on my road, the one my great-granddaddy carved out of limestone with a mule team and stubbornness. And there was this kid in a neon vest standing beside it with a clipboard, like he was guarding the gates of heaven. That's when I knew somebody had just declared war, and they didn't even realize it yet. I was about 5 miles out from the ranch when I rolled up on it. Gravel crunching under my tires, sun just starting to burn off the morning haze, cattle bawling somewhere off in the low pasture. And there it was, brand new metal, concrete footings still pale like fresh bone. 2 signs bolted on. One said something about a $25 community toll. The other screamed trespassers will be reported in big black letters. I leaned out the truck window and said, "Morning." The kid smiled like he'd practiced it in the mirror. "Good morning, sir. I'll need you to pay the toll before I can raise the gate." I blinked. "You what?" He started talking about the HOA, how it was a private community now, how I could appeal through the board if I felt misclassified. Misclassified? Like I was a damn library book filed under the wrong genre. I just stared at him. That road had been in my family since before electricity reached this county. My father taught me to drive on it. I buried a dog beside it. I spread my mother's ashes not 50 yards off that bend by the oak tree. And now this kid was telling me I needed permission to go home. I didn't yell. Didn't need to. I just told him real calm, "I'm gonna turn around. And when I come back, that gate better be gone." He stammered something about calling the sheriff. I nodded once, backed up, and pulled off the road. Sat there for a minute, just breathing. You ever feel that quiet kind of anger? The one that doesn't shake your hands but settles into your bones? That's what it was. I reached up into the overhead rack and pulled down the old Mossberg my dad mounted there decades ago. Checked the chamber. Loaded. Legal. Honest. When I rolled back up, the kid was still there, holding his phone like it might save him. I told him, "Move off my property." He didn't. Not right away. So I racked the slide. That sound does something to people. He dropped the clipboard and scrambled sideways, yelling that he was leaving. I stepped out, aimed at the lock, and fired once. Metal exploded. Sparks jumped. Gate swung open like it knew it had made a mistake. I drove through without another word. By the time I got to the house, the adrenaline was gone. Just left this heavy stillness. I fed the dogs, poured coffee, sat at the workbench like any other morning. But about an hour later, a stranger in a tan uniform dropped a court summons in my mailbox. That's when I realized this wasn't some misunderstanding. This was a setup. Next morning, I read the complaint over black coffee. They said I'd threatened a guard, destroyed community infrastructure, unlawfully entered an HOA road. They wanted damages, injunctions, a restraining order, on my own damn land. I called Gina Alvarez, best land use attorney this side of San Antonio. She didn't waste time. Told me to send deeds, surveys, anything older than disco music. Then I called Tom Randall, the surveyor who once caught a pipeline company trying to shave 10 feet off my south fence line. He showed up that afternoon with maps and a GPS rig that looked like NASA gear. We spread everything across my kitchen island. Old plats, aerial overlays, dusty documents stamped from the 1930s. And right away it was obvious. My road was private access in every real record. But on the HOA map, it curved right into their neighborhood like it had always belonged to them. Tom tapped the paper. They shifted the boundary about 70 feet. Subtle, but deliberate. Deliberate. That word stuck with me. Then Jack from the sheriff's office called. Said the HOA had submitted revised maps signed by a surveyor who'd retired 2 years before they were dated. Forgery. That night, I got an anonymous call. A voice told me to check my mailbox in the morning. Inside was a flash drive and a sticky note that just said, "For your lawyer." I plugged it in at the kitchen table, coffee going cold beside me. Grainy dashcam footage popped up. Timestamp from 2 weeks earlier. A contractor standing by the gate location. And a woman giving instructions. Karen Hale, HOA president. She waved off concerns about legality, like she was brushing lint off a blazer. Said they just needed the gate up before that ranch guy figured it out. And then, this part still makes my teeth grind. She said if I reacted badly, they could use it in court. Paint me as aggressive. A gun rack and a temper. Judges don't like that. I sat there a long time after the video ended. The house was quiet. Even the dogs were still. And it hit me, this wasn't about safety. It wasn't even about the road. It was about control. That was the moment things shifted. Hoi too, the counterpunch, I guess. Because now I wasn't just defending land. I was exposing a scheme. We dug deeper. Tom's survey proved the boundary fraud. Jack uncovered unlicensed security. Then came the twist I didn't see coming. Another rancher, Earl Moore, half a mile north. Big man, voice like gravel. Said the HOA had redirected drainage into his cattle pond. Mold in his house. Sick wife. Engineering report calling it intentional. Pattern established. Pressure neighbors. Flood them, fine them, sue them, until they sell cheap. Then a friend at the Texas General Land Office dropped the real bomb. That road wasn't just an access path. It was tied to an old water servitude. Aquifer rights. They weren't after convenience. They were after water. You don't mess with water in Texas unless you're either stupid or very sure you'll win. We filed motions, injunctions, fraud claims, environmental violations. And suddenly the fight got loud. News picked it up. Developers backed away. Even the company behind the subdivision sued the HOA board, saying Karen had exposed them to criminal liability. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. The courtroom day felt surreal. Packed benches. Reporters whispering. Karen sitting there in a white blazer like she was auditioning for a real estate magazine cover. Gina moved like a storm. Historical deeds. Aquifer documentation. Then she played the recording. Karen's own voice filled the room, smug, confident, careless. You could feel the air leave the place. Like someone opened a window in winter. The judge leaned forward slowly. Asked her if it was her voice. She tried to say it was taken out of context. Funny thing about truth, context usually makes it worse, not better. The injunction came down fast. Gate removed within 72 hours. Criminal referral filed. Temporary restraining order against the HOA. Outside, cameras everywhere. I said one thing and kept walking. You don't get to steal history and call it progress. But Karen didn't stop. She filed a personal lawsuit against me. Emotional distress. Armed intimidation. Wanted $250,000. That's when the last mask fell off. Gina found financial records tying Karen directly to the development itself. Shell companies, hidden ownership stakes. She wasn't just HOA president. She was the fox, the henhouse, and the farmer selling the eggs. After that, everything collapsed fast. Former contractors testified. A retired councilman came forward saying he'd warned her. Residents sent letters, stories of fines and threats, and quiet bullying stretching back years. The final hearing felt less like a trial and more like gravity finally working. Judge Morales didn't smile once. Just listened. Then she said the words that ended it. Fraud. Conspiracy. Criminal obstruction of property rights. They cuffed Karen right there. No shouting. No drama. Just a hollow look in her eyes, like she'd just realized power has a shelf life. 2 weeks later, the HOA was dissolved. Assets liquidated. Damages paid out to me and a bunch of folks who'd been pushed around for years. Karen got 12 years. Her partner got 9. A county assessor went under federal investigation. The gate hauled off on a flatbed like scrap. I watched it leave from my porch, coffee in hand, morning sun hitting the pasture just right. Felt lighter than I had in months. Now there's a new sign at the road's edge. Hand-painted, bolted into cedar. Says private road. Trespassers will be fed to the cows. Mostly a joke. Mostly. And here's the thing I keep thinking about, the part that sticks with you after the dust settles. People always talk about justice like it's this grand lightning strike. Fast. Clean. Obvious. It isn't. Real justice is slow. Muddy. Paperwork stacked higher than fence posts. It's early mornings and long nights and choosing not to quit when quitting would be easier. And sometimes the only reason it works is because one stubborn fool refuses to move. I didn't fight because I'm brave. I fought because I knew if I didn't, the next person down the road might not have the land, the money, or the help to fight back. And once people learn they can take something from you without consequence, they rarely stop at just one thing. So here's what I keep wondering, and maybe you will too. At what point does defending what's yours stop being self-defense and start becoming resistance? And if the system only works when someone pushes back hard enough, what happens to the folks who can't? I'd really like to hear what you think. Have you ever had to stand your ground against something bigger than you? An HOA, a company, a system that thought you'd fold? Was it worth it in the end, or did it cost more than it gave back? Tell me your story. Because if there's one thing this whole mess taught me, it's this: Silence is the only thing that ever makes bullies feel safe.